Okay, I'm going to give what's possibly, I hope, is the shortest lecture I've given in this series so far. What I want to talk about are really career pathways that a student can take. And I'm a college professor. I believe in education, but I also believe that there are a lot of needs we have beyond those for college-educated engineers, which I do. And I kind of recognize that for my PhD, there's a lot of people that need to carry out these visions. You know, these are engineers, loads of good jobs there. And then you need all of the good technical people that actually do things and make things, and there's great careers there, and they're really underserved. So here's the big idea. There's a lot of great jobs out there that do not require full college degrees. Skills, certifications, and training are the key, and really, I think skills is a big part of it. And lifelong learning doesn't require a degree. Look at some of the greatest successes we've had, guys like Bill Gates and so forth, Steve Jobs. These are guys that basically dropped out of college. They figured out that doing things is really more important than knowing things, and that's really where my basic philosophy is. And nothing wrong with college education, but not everyone needs it. So what I want to do with this short lecture is just basically say there's a lot of good careers out there, and there are pathways for that, and I want to give you a little flavor for where those resources are to get onto some of these non-traditional career paths, because it does still require learning and skills to get there. So this is really what a lot of people look at the U.S. economy, and I dabble in this myself, and we really understand that if you have talent, talent is what drives innovation. If you have innovation, you get jobs. That gives you global competitiveness. You look at a country like Germany, they do a great job at developing talent that isn't just at the PhD and engineer level. They train a huge number of great people that know how to make dyes, do electronics, do welding, do coatings. These are the jobs, these are the skills that make everything really hum. And there's loads of great jobs out there. I know from talking to lots of colleagues out in industry, they're really, really thirsting for people that know how to do things like welding, repair equipment, do digital electronics, and the like. So, like anything, there are systematic paths for this. There's sort of an education path to this, starting with a high school diploma, getting a specialty, possibly associate's degree with a specialty, multiple specialties. And there are certification paths. These are things that give you credentials to do certain jobs. And this might be the American Welding Society, the National Institute of Metalworking Skills, for example, Society of Manufacturing Engineers. And these tell employers that you have the skills to do something. You're certified to do something. Anything important we require certificates for. And then that gives you career paths going from operator all the way up here to being engineers and managers and so forth. Point is, there's great jobs here, not always requiring degrees, but requiring smarts, requiring you to have skills. That is still important. That's still what's there. So again, to be an effective person, I got to start with personal effectiveness competencies. That's what makes you effective in any job. You got to have some academic competencies. Can you read? Can you write? And so forth. Workplace competencies. Can you work with people? Fill out forms. Be effective part of teams. And then there's all kinds of these great careers out there in energy, aerospace, automation. Automation is a big one that is going to grow. Automotive, machinery. And there are pathways on all of these things. And again, not a lot of them require degrees. And I'm a big believer that if we have the best workforce in the Midwest and in Ohio, we're going to have the best economy that there is. And that's something that I believe strongly. And if you look at literature from places like Germany, you can, I think, reach very similar conclusions. So point I want to make is we have a bunch of institutions around here, around Ohio. This is one from a particularly good community college, Lorain Community College. A lot of great community colleges out there. They have a great pathway in welding, and this is a welding pathway. And again, we have master's and PhDs and bachelor's degrees. And again, at Ohio State, we offer, I think, the only accredited bachelor's and PhD program in welding in the country. But in addition to that, there are plenty of associate degrees, STEM diplomas, certificates available, certification pathways, career pathways, and these lead to various sorts of jobs, many of them very good, many of them very stable, many of them, getting even without bachelor's degrees, you can get, I think these are a little bit dated, you can get paid very well to go out and actually make stuff, and there's actually a lot of self-value, a lot of fun in actually making things, and that's really what I want to focus on. These things exist in Ohio. You got to look a little bit like anything. Where do you turn? Well, the best single place to go is this OhioHigherEd.org website put on by the Ohio Board of Regents, and it will tell you where the in-demand occupations are. Some of these things we demand a lot of people to flip burgers and things like that. There are some that are in demand and highly paid as well, and those are the ones you really want to look for, and you got to do your own filtering on some of this. And if I pull up the website, as it seems to be doing on two separate pages here, let me knock out one of them. And let me actually go to the one I loaded earlier, which I think is still up there. There it is. This is the Ohio Higher Ed site put on by the Ohio Board of Regents, just to kind of show you what's out there. You can go on the Students tab, and oops, I didn't actually mean to go that far. But find a career, prepare for college, pay for college. There's a lot of work going on to make college more affordable. What I'd like to do is just say, find a career. Lots of good resources here. Ohio Board of Regents is in sync with what's going on in the state and the economy. They do a good job of that. Let me just go back again. And there are skills assessments you can do. You can look at occupational career pathways in various industries. Let's go there for a moment. And you can see that there are many options here. It talks about healthcare, finance, manufacturing is one of my favorites because it is STEM, and I absolutely believe that's going to grow. Ohio means jobs. There's loads of opportunities here. The other way to search, it's really good, is actually go to the Ohio campuses. And the idea with community colleges, you generally do stay near home, but you don't necessarily need to. And we can go to the, let's see, the related links. There was here the interactive map. That's what I was looking for. And you can see there's loads of places, and you've got to go and do a little bit of searching. And you can search the site for who does welding, who does automation, and so forth, who does things you're interested in. But then you can also see what you have near home, and basically there are multiple flavors of things out there. Universities are kind of obvious. Regional campuses of universities. Community colleges generally serve two purposes, either to give you the first couple of years of a degree where you can go to university, or give you certifiable skills right out of there. The Ohio Technical Centers, OTCs, Toll's Career Academy, for example, is an OTC near Columbus, serves Honda quite a bit. I believe that's Toll's Career Center right there in Plain City. That's a good one. You can go onto their website and, again, see what kind of programs they offer. So those are the kind of resources that are available. And, again, it's, oops, blew up the internet. Toll is there. Tolls is there, and what Tolls does, all these Ohio career centers are alternatives, basically alternatives to high school, where you can get career skills in things like welding, CNC machining, being a first responder, being a healthcare worker, being a cook. All of these things you can go and get right out. And again, being a cook, you can easily work your way up to owning a restaurant, being a chef. There's lots of good stories that go along with great successes on that. Cameron Mitchell is an urban legend in Upper Arlington, where I live. I've heard rumors that he wasn't necessarily voted most likely to achieve in high school, but he's done very, very well that way. So it can be done. So I'm going to close up this particular one early and just leave you to search the web on your own, because I think that's really what's important here, is get right to my conclusions on this one. And the conclusions really are, in summary, college is not the only way to a great career. To be great, you need to work hard, maximize your individual strengths, do what you have in you is really the best advice I can give. That may not require college. Go out and go get it. That's really it, and that's something you can pass on to your students. Along with this, we'll put some great resources up on the web, and I'm going to keep that one short and sweet. Thanks for watching. Bye.